Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset episode 117. This podcast is about anything and everything related to Destiny the game. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, our co-host AER0KNIGHT,
I'm back.
returns back from some R&R.
We talk about Luke Smith's ruminations from this month's Edge magazine interview, and we finally give our first impressions on the new Iron Banner. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT, and here with me, or maybe you should say, and here with me, it's CyborgSasquatch.
Hooray! You're back!
I'm back.
You can
back.
Believe it, I would say, with your eyes, but your ears do not deceive you.
No, and hopefully sound somewhat normal. Last week, when I realized you guys were probably recording, I'm pretty sure I was having like a coughing fit, so definitely was a good idea for me to step out for
smart
the week.
Then. That would have been a rough show.
Dude, I don't know, man. I know the colds are going around, but chest cold hit me, and I know you've been fighting one too, man.
It was kind of back and forth, but I didn't lose my voice, thankfully, so I was able to pull it off. But
I was just telling you before the show, I hardly ever lose my voice, man. But I'm glad to be back, dude. I tell you what, though, as much as I love being on the show, it is so much fun to listen to Destiny Reset and not have
good show, man.
Know what's coming. Yeah, it's a great show. Blue Ranger and Joe, thank you guys so much for stepping in. And the last 2 weeks have been excellent shows, dude. Excellent.
Well, I'm glad that we made you proud, buddy.
Yeah, really good, man. Excellent.
Well, I'm sure that we have plenty to catch up on here.
Yes, like we've mentioned before, I think we've communicated via text for the last 2.5 weeks. So this is the first time we're talking with our voices in a while.
That's right. That's right. So announcements. Last week we had a generous Dirt Fan member donate a Cold Heart code, pre-order code, and we just wanted to give a shout out to him. I_good versus evil _I. Yes. Thanks for that generous code. We had somebody that in the middle of the night message us after the show posted that they got it for their brother, I think, who didn't have it and was really thankful. So yeah, great job.
I love when the community shares with each other.
Man, it's awesome.
Great. Dude, and I just infused my Cold Heart. It totally just blanked for a while, realizing what weapon type I needed to infuse it, and I finally didn't dismantle a blue auto rifle to infuse it. So yeah, I'm going to be playing around with that thing again.
It's a really fun rifle.
It's cool.
I use it a ton in the raid and sometimes in strikes.
Mm-hmm.
It's
public
very
events
effective.
Is where I like to go to town
public
with
events.
Yep.
I'm partial to my raid sword for public events, but
yeah, I have the raid sword thanks to my
you
clan.
do have that, dude.
Infuse
that thing up. Infuse that thing up. It's so good.
Yeah,
I think it might be the best out of the weapon, just as far as like a standout.
I was listening to a show, this dude named Cyborg on it, and I'm pretty sure in the last week or two on the episode of the podcast he's on, he mentioned about that sword being pretty solid.
Probably so.
So it's now on my character.
But yo,
so
why
can't
we
that advice, buddy?
Yeah, why can't we get shaders on our swords? I'm disappointed.
What's up with that? Yeah,
it's a weird thing.
It is.
Where were we?
I don't know. This is what happens.
News.
2 hours, here we come.
Yeah, let's try. Let's try to beat. Let's try not to keep people too long this week. Last week I think was a pretty close to a record setter.
Dude, we got some tweets, man. People enjoyed last week's episode. So
it was a topical discussion.
Yeah.
This week at Bungie, we're controlling some new zones. Lord Saladin returned and forgot that we are Iron Lords conveniently.
Yes.
That's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and blame it on a traumatic head injury that he sustained.
Something? Yeah. Dude, I just watched a YouTube video today, and they're like, okay, where is Aphrodite? And he forgot that we were, and his text says that he is the only remaining, and it's like, wait a second.
There's at least 3 of us now, dude.
Yes, at least.
Besides that, Iron Banner returned. There was a map that I think, well, this would be the official first return of an old map in Destiny. We got I don't want to call it a reskin, but Distant Shore is a Crucible map set on Nessus that is based on Shores of Time.
Yes.
Which I think is interesting because if you think about it, if the Vex are terraforming and or making a planet in the way that they wish, it kind of would make sense if you had areas that seem pretty familiar on other planets, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It kind of fits.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, though.
Sure.
Did you play the map?
I haven't gotten it yet.
Dude, I have played Iron Banner all week, and I have not seen it.
Well, good news is that it is sticking around.
I mean, it's not just sticking around after, right? The text here does say it's in the playlist for Iron Banner, right? And then we'll stick around
after the week. After it says after the weekly reset, Distant Shore will then go into the rotation for all playlists.
But it should be an Iron Banner right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I
know people have played it.
Okay, well, good. I'm excited to play it, but I have not seen it. I have not.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays in Control with 4v4.
Yeah,
because it's a big map.
Yep.
That was usually a great sixes map.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm curious if they did anything with the zones, because as you would know, on Shores of Time, you want C and B, not A and B.
Right.
So
I'm understanding this right, correct? I mean, we're doing this live. Not really, but it's supposed to be an Iron Banner this week. We've both played Iron Banner, and neither one of us has loaded into this map.
Correct.
Okay. Just making
to
sure.
Be fair, I've not played as much Iron Banner as I planned on this week.
Okay. I played more than I planned on, so.
Okay. So you've played more. You would probably have gotten it before I did.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I can't wait to play it, though. I'm excited. Let us know what you guys think.
Maybe we'll try some matches when we get done tonight and see if we can get it to come up.
I do want to try and get the auto rifle, so I might try to fit in a couple more games.
I hear the auto rifle's solid.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about this later. I can't do it. Yep.
Okay. Iron Banner coming up later in the show. Next, we start talking about the inevitable PC launch of Destiny 2. 12 days from the TWAB, which was the 12th. So the 24th, is that right? The PC version of Destiny 2 will go live. They also included a nice handy map to show you some time zones to make it crystal clear when you'll be able to play.
Give you a nice little link if you're not close to any of those.
Yeah, there's a link to do the math for you too. So then they talk about some PC specs, which we've seen before, minimum and recommended. I'm happy because the recommended, I've got the exact NVIDIA card, the GTX 1066 gig. So hopefully that one's sure a steady 60 FPS for me.
Yeah, my recommended's looking pretty good.
Good.
So it's a little bit different, but any indication of how the beta ran. Plus, we're both pre-purchased, right? So I'm pretty pumped. We can preload too. We saw it today.
Yeah, I think on the 18th. Is that right?
18th. Yep.
Yeah. So that's great. Just get that sucker loaded up, downloaded, and etc. Moving on, they start talking about the Prestige raid, which was delayed from this week into next week, and they mentioned they still have not come up with a solid solution for the exploit. However, they are not going to push the Prestige raid back any further. They will release it on October 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific, but they do have a way to know if this particular cheese is being used so that they can verify the official world's first.
That's good.
First, second, third, etc. Finalists, if you would. They use the term verify a clean finish. So they're going to work on a plan to fix that cheese in a future update. I haven't seen it. I've heard of it, what it is. I haven't tried it or anything. Most of the time with these exploits, you spend more time setting it up and executing it than if you would just get good.
Mm-hmm.
You know? With the exception of like the original Corona cheese, which was like, just pull out a network cable.
Yeah, that one wasn't too hard.
That one was easy. So I'm looking forward to Prestige Raid.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You're the raider of the crew here.
Yeah, we've been talking about it amongst the crew, specifically since they've made it pretty clear it's more to do with the sandbox than major mechanical changes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because last week in the TWAB, right, and you guys were talking about it, they kind of hinted that it was kind of weird, like it wasn't anything. I guess you don't want to say it that way. Not that it's not something substantial, but it's more of like they're just going to make it bloody hard, mate. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they mention here he says, we will be back next week to tell you about raid challenges that have been designed to make you rethink familiar encounters. So I'm curious if we're going to see the return of, challenges from Destiny 1 in the same manner that we saw that back then, because I wasn't sure if we were going to get challenges with the way that they were lining things out. So that is welcome news for me, that there will, because the challenges were really what presented in Destiny 1, from the Taken King forward, the raid in a unique and more difficult way that really like pushed the team. It would usually be constructed to push your team to its limits,
Right. Yeah.
Like, how good can you communicate? How good are you at this encounter? Doing it, quote unquote, properly. There'd usually be a more accepted way to do a particular encounter that fit in with a challenge, typically. So I'll be looking forward to challenges if those do come up, and hopefully there will be some kind of reward associated with that.
Specifically with those, you only get them.
Yeah,
the challenges, an emblem. That'd be cool.
Yeah, hopefully more than an emblem.
Yeah,
give me a ship or something.
At least an emblem. Yeah,
give me a ship. Next up, I think this was great that they are acknowledging a conversation here.
Yes.
The title being Feedback Frenzy. And do you mind if I just read this real quick?
Do it. Yep, definitely read it.
Quote, ever since launch, there has been feedback posted anywhere and everywhere that discussions about Destiny 2 happen on the internet. I'm always dialed into our own feedback forum, as well as other avenues you travel to share your ideas with us. Some topics are as broad as ways to make the Crucible more fun. Some are much more specific, like add a method to mass delete shaders. We're reading as much as your chatter as we possibly can. There are millions of you after all. One thing we have noticed is a lot of discussions about the end game and how it can be improved. Right now, these discussions are also happening in our studio. We are listening, but need time to digest everything and draw up the best plans for the future. We will have more to say on this soon. Please stay tuned and keep the conversation rolling.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they are continuing a position in keeping the conversation going. So it's not just one-sided. I've said this, we've said this several times over the past several months, that we really appreciate that they are keeping the conversation and communication line going both ways. There were periods in Destiny 1 where months would go by without even the acknowledgement of a major conversation happening in the community. So I think it's great that they're saying, hey, we know that people are feeling this way, we're having this conversation with you. Please give us more feedback. I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah, I was going to say it's, I mean, obviously the in-game is a hot topic right now. And for them to actually straight up acknowledge it, say in-game in a sentence and how it can be improved is a big deal. So it's nice to know that they're aware. And I think that hopefully helps the conversation in the community. So
yeah, I think the only downside I see to this is that they are still drawing up plans.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's pretty far out from rolling something out to keep us busy, but I think realistically the best hope for those who are looking for more in the game is probably December or whenever the next DLC comes out. But
I know it's, you guys have talked about this on the last couple episodes, but it does stink that we're full blown into Destiny 2 and we're having this conversation about in-game structure again.
Yeah.
But
that's okay.
We'll see what we get, see what we can do, see what feedback we can provide.
Yeah. Well, moving right along, we've got the Destiny player support section, where they finally rolled out a much needed hotfix, especially if you were a PlayStation player, 1.0.3.2, which resolved tower crash issues. Players would have some serious problems getting into the tower. And so they rolled out a patch for this. Hopefully this has fixed the issue for you. I've heard of a couple people sometimes having problems, but hopefully not
I've had
as terrible.
A couple of friends tell me that they weren't getting any, I won't say a couple, at least one told me they weren't getting any tower crash issues until this dropped. Oh, now they're getting some. So hopefully that's not the start of another issue, but hopefully we'll see.
Well, moving along, they want to bring up how to report clans or players. You have multiple avenues to report players or clans that are suspected of cheating, using abusive language, or engaging in poor behavior during gameplay. There's an in-game report clan tool located on the clan inspection page. And there's also the in-game report player tool, which is kind of hard to find now. I'm going to be honest with you, because it's hard to inspect players in Destiny 2. Do you kind of get it like just to get to where you have to go to see the roster? Seems just kind of clunky and far. It doesn't feel
as easy as it used to be. Yeah.
And then you have to find the report player. I don't know. Anyways, it's in there. Just dig for it if you really need to. Good luck if you need to do it in the Crucible, because it's even more difficult when there's a game going. But there's also a report suspected cheating page on help.bungie.net that you can submit a form as well if you believe people are cheating. Which, did you hear about this glitch that was found?
Oh, dude, yeah. I added it to our notes and news, but let's just talk about it now.
Yes.
The bureaucratic emote or whatever, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is crazy. How? So what? From what I watched, you just have to do the emote, and it allows you to basically walk through.
You can walk through
barriers in
walls
the world.
And barriers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doors. And I saw the video that was tweeted to us on Midtown. And then I watched a YouTube video of somebody doing it actually in the tower.
Yeah.
So
you can do it everywhere.
So they've removed it from Eververse, right? That emote. I believe.
They?
Yeah. The video I watched today, shout out to Houndish, his YouTube channel, I believe. He said that if you go look at Eververse, there's one there's one thing missing. It's not 2 rows anymore. They removed it because it was for sale this week.
But can you still use the emote if you have it?
Oh, I think you can. I think if you have it, so you can still use it
to prevent people from going to get it.
Yeah.
So there in Destiny 1, there's certain places where you could glitch through the geometry to get underneath and around maps, and that was kind of a fun thing to play around with. But it was typically those spots were only in like patrol instances and missions and maps, and it really didn't help you, do anything you shouldn't be in the game. Right. You just explore like, what does it look like underneath the map,
Yeah.
And you could get into some areas that were closed off, but whatever. But players are able to use this during Crucible matches to get inside geometry of buildings and other set pieces, and then you can actually shoot people.
Yeah, that's the weird part. Yeah.
Inside that. And so that is the
typically like your
part.
Shots would be stopped by that invisible wall when you're in there, but it's not. Yeah. Like we clearly watched a video that was tweeted to us.
So I don't want to be the guy that like is gonna pull out pitchforks, but if you're gonna do this to like legitimately, win trials matches and stuff, I'm gonna call you a cheater.
Dude, it's so weird because my first episode back in a couple weeks, back in the SOCOM days, this was almost inevitable, dude. Back in the PlayStation 2 days, like there would be a way to access outside of the map. We used to like set claymores, and you could blow yourself like off a bridge in like on top of the exterior mountain and run on. We just goof around with it and stuff and just have fun after the game had been out for a while. It is really weird for me to experience this in Destiny because it's odd. Like it just doesn't happen very often anymore. I know there was a couple things. I mean, this is like the third time, because they had to take a trials map down, right? Because people could get outside of the playable area.
Altar of Flame, I think it was.
And then there was another one, and now this emote lets you do it. This is just weird. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy.
A lot of stuff ran through the test team, unfortunately, that they didn't catch. So that's a thing. I would not hesitate to report people if they're using that competitively to take advantage of that. I have no personal issue with going into PvE activities though and exploring. I think it's fun and interesting. I wouldn't hold anybody's feet to the fire for that, but I would be super pissed if I was playing trials and somebody did that to me.
For sure. Imagine your 7th game, somebody hops into the wall.
Yeah. Gosh.
They have the emote.
That's why I did not play trials this weekend. You're a braver man than I am.
I had a great experience.
That's
luckily.
Good. I mean, I wanted to because it was Countdown on Midtown, right? Which would have been fun to do.
Going back to the beta days.
Yeah, I like Countdown, but I didn't even have time anyways, so move it on. We've got our movies of the week, which are always worth checking out. And then... yeah, that was this week at Bungie. We got a couple other little pieces of news. There was an interview in this month's Edge magazine.
Do you get Edge, or do you just go out and buy it?
I go buy it. They have a Apple app.
Okay.
So usually when they have stuff I want to read, you can buy the issue digitally. And they had a couple other good articles in this month's. Edge is a great magazine. Great gaming magazine. They always have awesome, interesting articles, so it's worth picking up anytime.
On the cover this month, right?
Yeah,
I forgot Mario Odyssey comes out this month. I'm kind of excited.
People are pumped about Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, I can't wait. I did. Before I forget, I did buy Stardew Valley this week.
Oh man,
you're working on getting a Switch, right?
Yeah, be careful with that game. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I know. I watched a beginner's guide, and I'm like, oh, I see now.
Once you like, you go and you get your toes wet, and before you know it, you're neck deep. It's like one of those games.
Plus, it's Switch, and I mean, it's like in my hand. The handheld set in bed.
The thing,
like,
it's going to be even more convenient than ever.
Dangerous. Yep.
Yeah. The first time that I really like got Stardew Valley and got into it, like I was playing it on my laptop, and I played it so often, so much that I was having a like wrist pain from time on the keyboard. We'll put it that way. That's how much of a problem it became.
I've never played it until actually tonight. I played it for about 10 minutes just to kind of get my character started. So
okay,
I'll keep you posted.
It's a lot of fun though. It's a great game. There's an article.
Planted a few seeds.
There's an article on the creator of Stardew Valley in this month's Edge that I'm going to read. Anyways, so this article, a short little interview with Luke Smith, director of Destiny 2. And they talk specifically about kind of a post haste on, what's been going on since Destiny 2 released. They had some interesting quotes here that I'm going to read. Let's get to... They found that he says, quote, an extremely high percentage of players have both finished the campaign and reached the level cap, like a shocking number of players. I think that's a really interesting data point, and the team should be really proud of that. It means that when people enter the world, they're sticking around, but the flip of it is, are we bringing enough new people in? With every piece of positive data, there's other stuff we should be exploring, and I think that's a good lesson. Data tells a story, and we've got to make sure we're watching that. So, is it that impressive that people get to level 20?
Yeah.
You can do that.
I think he doesn't he mention 305 too, though. I think he
does it. Yeah. He just says level cap.
Okay,
and I don't think he's talking about power cap.
Okay, see, because I don't know. I didn't actually read the article, but some shortened version of that I got, whatever I watched, said that he did mention 30, like that they actually.
He never mentions 305, and I think that
so that's a little different.
As a game designer, he's going to be clear about using terms like level and power.
Yeah. Well, plus when you read that too, you're like, okay, wait. The whole conversation is right now that people don't have a reason to keep playing, and then he says they do. It's nice that they do have a reason to come back, which, he's kind of talking about two different things.
He's talking about level. A certain point of
coming back. Yeah,
when people are sticking around in terms of where they are in the game unfolding.
Yeah, and in comparison with Destiny 1, of course, is
because I think that if you looked at Destiny 1 launch, you probably had a lot of people
didn't even make it to the Black Garden.
Yeah, maybe never made it to level 20. A lot of people, that was a true statistic that I remember them throwing out, that they had a lot of population that literally never made it to the Black Garden.
Yeah.
So I think they see that as a positive for players like us. We're like, oh yeah, of course. But I think that means that they feel that they did a good job in that portion of the game, which I would agree with.
The story.
Yeah, I agree with. Moving on, here's some really interesting things. This is going to tie into a question somebody had later on the show, but the interviewer says the fact that it's taken 2 weeks for that to happen actually says a lot, right? He's referring to people burning through the end game. Mm-hmm. If you run out of things to do, but you've played 100 hours, that's not so bad. And Luke Smith replies, I think that sounds pretty good. I don't play a lot of games for 80 or 90 hours. I think one of the things we've got to make sure we're doing right is, if you play it for 80 or 90 hours, are you happy with where you got your character to? And when there's new stuff for you to do, are you interested in coming back? I think right there, he makes it very clear and quantifies what they see as a successful experience in playing Destiny 2. And I even brought up kind of that area in terms of hours of playtime, between 50 and 100 hours, is how far they built the game out to be meaningful and have depth for you. As it unfolds, it kind of unfurls itself, but there's a point at which it unravels and there's not much left to do, right? And I think they make it clear, about 80 or 90 hours, if you've gotten that far into the game, I think he's making it clear, like, yeah, we want you to get there, and we just want to make sure you come back for the next time. And that's what I have felt is the case with how they designed the game. The vanilla version of Destiny 2 is they built that much content. They made sure they did a really, really good job on that 100 first hours. And kind of the rest of the stuff where we would expect more depth after that time period, they didn't invest as much development time into that because it's not as important to them. And I think that that's directly what he's saying. His philosophy is like, we want to make sure you got happy getting there. And are you going to come back when there's new stuff to do? Hence DLC 1, DLC 2. And I think that's something we need to digest. It's a tough change, I think, for some players. But I think we need to pay attention to what he's saying here, is my point.
It is weird because, I mean, we've got an email later. We're going to touch on this a little bit, but a video I watched, I've just been diving into videos, dude, and all this conversation and all this stuff. And some people have some really valid points, some really good points. And I feel people's pain. And also, I mean, I'm still having a good time in the game, but, it's kind of like everything that we talked about this a little bit before the show, the dev post we saw on Reddit, talking about anything they would have implemented in Rise of Iron would have been too late for them to implement into this iteration of Destiny 2. But
right.
It does stink because I still feel like we have the same problem we always had before. We were talking about this in our Discord. Like
not enough to do.
I want reasons to go do specific reasons to go do strikes. I want, like, they made it to where we want to do all those things while we're leveling. But I want to have a reason to do those things when I don't need to level anymore. And I felt this all through Destiny 1 is it's like there's so much content here. And this is a loot game. No matter, we always talk about we play games for fun. And we want to play games for fun, but they've kind of groomed us, at least in Destiny, if not in most games these days, to want a reward when we play. And, there's no way around it with Destiny. Like, it's fun. I have a blast. But it's also really fun being coupled with getting rewarded while we play. So we have all these activities out here that once we level up, we have no reason to do them anymore. Unless there's, like, right now I don't have Nameless Midnight. So I still have a reason to go run strikes. As soon as I get that gun, unless they make some sandbox changes in PvP and all of a sudden make you want another game that you didn't want previously from the Vanguard, there's no reason for me to go run a strike on a reward level. So this content is just sitting there.
Right.
It is really fun to play, and there's no reason for us to go do it except to go have fun, which you can still do with your fire team. But this is the same thing in Destiny 1. It's like the same thing with Prison of Elders. The same thing. It's like all this cool stuff sitting here, but when I log on, what's my motivation to go do it?
Yeah. Ultimately, I believe the way that Destiny plays in Destiny 2 is a incentive-based, loot-based
There's no way around
shooter.
it, man. I mean, yeah.
And if we look at the first 100 hours, it reinforces rewards for activities. Your milestone page lays out, here's what you can do and what you can get for it. It's always steering you towards feeling rewarded for your time and the investment of your time. What do you get out of that makes the game more fun, right? We've talked about this a lot over the past couple of years, that ultimately new guns or new armor or whatever is about enhancing the experience for you. You get this new gun, it gives you a little bit different way of playing the game that makes it more fun for you, or allows you to tackle an activity in a newer, different way, or a more competent way. So they're teaching you that behavior of playing the game throughout the whole progression that they built, but then you get to the end and ultimately that progression unravels and falls apart. And, I talked with Joe a lot about this last week, and his take is that, ultimately the end game for him is about having fun and mastering content. And I think that there is some merit in that, but I think that they fall short in their own device. If they're going to build a game around making you feel rewarded, they need to see it through to the end, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it's like you
that's
don't
where
want to
people feel upset.
Yeah. It's like you don't want to forget that. We play games to have fun. Like if I jumped on right now with a fire team and I went and did a strike, we would have a good time. But
everybody's definition of fun is different.
Right, yeah. And what you're saying exactly is like like I said, they've groomed us to want to be rewarded in the game. And of course, we're still going to have fun playing. I have fun playing it when I log on, every time I log on. But I'm not running strikes. I even have a gun that I want. I'm not running strikes. And I have that thought of like, yes, I can go run a strike, but it just stinks that they hadn't figured out by now a reason to make me want to run strikes for rewards in the game. Now, remind me, when did they bring strike-specific loot? Was that with Rise of Iron? That was before Rise of Iron, right?
The Taken King began that.
Right. Where is that? Where's strike-specific loot, man?
Right.
Like,
the same team built that into the Taken King.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then I
feel like these are things
left it behind. I think that it's not there because I think that they were in a development crunch, and I think that there's assets that don't exist because they didn't have time.
Yeah.
If you look at the fact that all the faction guns and armor and all the Iron Banner guns are complete reskins, that's a lot of stuff to create, and it didn't get created new because I think that they didn't have the time to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go back and listen to us at the launch of Destiny, you'll probably hear this. I mean, I'm sure I said several times, man, this is so cool. I have a reason to do everything. I can't wait to go out and do public events. And then, like you said, you hit the cap, and it's like, well,
I still go do public events because they're the most rewarding thing to do.
Yeah, I think they're fun.
The most unfortunate thing about public events is they're pretty much the only thing you want to do in patrol. After you get through a certain amount of exploration and you do a lot of the adventures, people don't do patrol missions anymore. They just go and they surf public events, and that's it. And you don't explore the world. You don't go finish your adventures because the loot associated with the adventures are static. And it's like, why would I do this for a 90 power blue engram?
Right.
Like, why is it not scaling with me? You know, that I don't get that at all. There's just all these little things, and I don't want to sit here and like just bash, but ultimately, I think that there are just some ways that they were not able or chose not to follow through in their design philosophy, and I think it was because they decided to focus their development time on what happens in that first 100 hours. Yeah. And ultimately what we get is a very nicely curated journey, I think, in that 50 to 100 hours. Like, I had a blast. I think it unfolded really nicely. The way that they present everything makes sense. I think it was very well built for a new player or returning players. So I want to see them build it out more, you know, in the capacity that we know that they can build depth into a game, because we've seen depth in Destiny over time. So,
well, yeah, and I'd mentioned before the show too that, you know, I have to kind of take a step back and try to see what a lot of the community is saying on the PvE side, because before I know it, as much as I love PvE, I'm jumping on the PvP side, which we know if you enjoy the PvP, I mean, you just naturally have a little bit more longevity between what you might call a drought, if you will.
It's always replayable because you're always playing new opponents.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've always said trials. I mean, I could get no rewards from trials and I would still play it every weekend because it is fun to play. And I still think we're missing that on the PvE side. You know, I got in a conversation on Twitter with a few few guardians about a true wave-based mode that I'd still love to see in Destiny when they kind of hinted. People thought Prison of Elders might be coming back because that image showed up in the database. Of course, it's been debunked.
Yeah, we didn't mention that, but yeah, Cosmo commented that was a remnant of some code that got left behind. So no, PoE is not coming back.
Not coming back. Yeah, but I'm already finding myself logging in. I'm having a blast, going out in patrols and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm especially with Iron Banner, I'm gravitating to PvP already, and that's a good thing for me. I really enjoy the PvE, but I do really enjoy the PvP side of things. And another thing they're doing right now, whether you are a fan of certain in-game systems or not, is the events that have occurred since it's launched have been steady. So I'm anxious to see what happens after Iron Banner, after the Prestige raid and stuff like that. But anyways, we're trying to wrap this up. Move on to his next thing.
Yeah, there's two more quotes that are worth noting. The question was, the Destiny expansions contain some great little secrets such as Outbreak Prime and Black Spindle. The people on Reddit who reckon they've seen everything the game has to offer, are they right? And Luke Smith answers, I don't want to set expectations that we've got a hidden Outbreak Prime or Black Spindle lying in the wings, but we do think of things like Faction Rally and Iron Banner, and there's stuff that can come out of the cade chests every week. There's stuff that's going to keep showing up that people haven't found yet. So
basically,
yeah, there's nothing coming.
Yeah, that's just
I
weird.
don't know. The only so what's coming out of the cade chests of note is that you can get these journal excerpts from Cade's journey that are kind of telling a little story. My only guess is maybe if you find all of them, maybe there's a quest or something that comes out of that, and that would be cool. But disappointing, because I've been talking about this, hoping that there was something there, and I think he's pretty clearly saying there's not.
Right. Basically, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's a cool way that they could do it. I mean, that would give people a reason, to kind of be excited about going to get those chests each week, is like, ooh, something could just pop up all of a sudden. But I don't know. It's just, it's kind of like we talked way back with DLCs. Like, they set expectations with a raid, and then, we just, with Outbreak Prime quests, people were just freaked out about that, and Black Spindle. I mean, we had a forum post up about helping people in the community get their Black Spindle, and then now it just sounds like we won't have that right now.
Well, we can hope for something in the DLC.
Yeah.
I think it's, in one of the Bungie podcasts, I think Mark Noseworthy, maybe it was John Wisniewski, we're talking about where, for instance, Black Spindle came from. They had an exotic that they hadn't
I remember
placed in the world yet. Like, how do you get it? And they had development time where they were given like kind of free reign to say, okay, create something around this. And so they made something cool. And I think that the fact that there's not things like that could be the consequence of them having a crunch development time. Like,
right.
We've seen that when these developers have time to be creative, even individual developers or teams, they can really do some awesome stuff. SRL came out of that. SRL came out of I think it was like their Bungie, what is the pentathlon or whatever that they do every year. I think they were like given, like, everybody go create something just for fun. And SRL came into that because they wanted to do Sparrow Racing. And then it got pushed into a live team event, and it became a whole huge thing. We can see that when they have the time to innovate or create or do something off the cuff, they can knock it out of the park. And I think ultimately this may be a consequence of them not being able to have that time in their team. A crunch development cycle can stifle creativity, I believe.
Yeah, and I think, again, like you mentioned, DLC, we'll see this over the year, things. I think we'll see an improvement already in the events we see and the pace of those. I think with DLCs, we'll see the re-implementation of a lot of these things. It just stinks that it feels like we kind of backtracked a little bit, and then now we have to see it implemented back into the game.
Unfortunately,
like
we've got to
strike specific loot.
Pick up some of that old Bungie patience that we put on the shelf and say, all right, we'll give you another couple months to see what else you can do.
Yeah.
That's just, but he addresses the fact in this interview that, I paraphrase, but he says even a 20-minute adventure takes months to create. And he says you eat it up like a bag of chips, like it's just gone.
And
he says ultimately we can't create enough to keep everybody happy. It's not possible, but their challenge is keeping stuff on deck and keeping, things moving. So, one last quote that I thought was interesting is they're talking about fixed weapon perks and, what the answer to keeping the loot fresh. And he says, I'm still a pretty big supporter of the change. I believe that ultimately the Destiny franchise is heading towards being a collection game. I understand that we have shortcomings there right now that we need to address. With respect to making duplicates matter, this is still one of the things we have ideas for. So I think two things here. The fact that they still don't have a solution being built for that particular problem is notable. Because I think that's something people are complaining about. Like they missed random rolls, not because of the, I guess the way the sandbox was a Wild West, but because you could get excited about a gun dropping for the 20th time.
Dude, I remember talking about this at
getting
the
that
live
IS
show
Luna,
at GuardianCon. Like, I was like, man, this stinks because, it does stink when you don't get the roll of the gun you want for a while, but it still gave you that Gallahorn effect we talk about. I got two of my hand cannon rolls like a month before Destiny 2 came out. And it's much as we didn't like the grind, at the same time we did. And I still haven't fully decided on these fixed weapon rolls. He mentions in that article that they're trying to find a solution to when, the duplicates, because you feel like you get a ton of duplicates and you just dismantle. And if they find a solution, cool, but it does stink, cause it's fun to go in the Crucible or wherever and you see that hand cannon drop, and you're like, oh, I wonder what the roll is on it. Like maybe I got the one I've always wanted. But I don't know. They sound pretty adamant right now that they're going to stick with the fixed rolls, and whether it's a balanced decision, or what it is, I don't know.
But then him mentioning that Destiny is heading towards being a collection game.
I
think it's interesting.
Think about that?
I, as you know, am a collector. I like collecting things, and it's worth noting because I think that when you bring up the concept of the end game, quote unquote, being having fun and mastering stuff, people can have fun in different ways. What is fun for you may not be fun for me, and vice versa. Some people it's the journey, not the destination. Some people it's the destination, not the journey. Some people it's mastering something or destroying with said mastery if you're Slayerage, people play in different ways and get different satisfaction out of this game. For me, I get a lot of strange satisfaction out of having everything. If when I get that emote I don't have from Eververse, it doesn't matter if I like it or not. I'm like, yes, I have it. I have the thing. I want all the ships. I want all the shaders. I want all the things. I'll probably never use them. They'll just sit there, but I get this strange satisfaction from it. And for me, it's great to be doing the activity that can lead me to getting the thing I don't have. And that's fun for me. Even the grind of trying to get it is fun for me. But that's not the same for everyone. But the fact that their philosophy is leading towards the game being about collecting, is interesting. I'm curious how that works for everyone,
I'm curious how that pans out and what their overall vision is for that over the next couple of years.
Well, in collecting, there's another aspect of collecting that makes it desirable and interesting, and that's rarity. Mm-hmm. And if you're making a collection game where everybody can collect everything easily, it's not going to work very well.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. They're making a game where it is easy for everyone to get everything because all you got to do is be in a good clan.
Yeah.
And if that's all you got to do, it makes it less desirable to collect certain things. It's not very desirable for me to collect Trials armor right now. You know? It's cool, but everybody can go get it. So I don't know. Anyways, just some thoughts.
Well, yeah. It's interesting, man. Like we love this game so much, we can pick apart every detail so much, and I'm still logging in every day and having fun.
Absolutely, I'm still having a ton of fun playing the game.
It's like it's the classic. What you love, you can. I mean, we can talk about this game for hours. There's always something to talk about and something we'd like to see, and we got to make sure and keep in perspective what we're having fun with and that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
yep.
Yeah, I take everything I say with a grain of salt. Somebody tweeted me last week, maybe the week before, and they were like, your podcast was so negative. And I was like, really? Like, maybe I talk out of both sides of my mouth. If I do, I'm sorry.
I listened to that episode, man. It was our constructive, our classic constructive.
I really, really love this game. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I'm super happy with so many things that they did, and maybe we didn't get enough time to talk about all of that in depth like we have in the past because we got too distracted by some of the stuff we weren't happy with. It's really easy to be critical, and there's things that we are happy about that it's like you don't even have to say because everybody knows. You know, the campaign was fun. The tanks were fun. Like, we could talk about it. Everybody feels the same way. We talked about it the whole time it was going on. Like,
Well, plus, it's part of our responsibility to in the community in general, to provide feedback. It doesn't, it's hard, even when you're just providing constructive feedback, it can be taken negatively. So, we could sit here and talk about all day how much we love the game. But it's kind of a given because we're doing a show about the game.
I hope that if you listen, that you keep us honest. If you feel like myself or anybody is just being super negative, call us out on it because that's not how we want to be. But we try when we're critical, just that we're being critical because we do love the game, and also as a way of communicating our ideas and particular likes and dislikes about certain ways that the game is created. It's a way of feedback, and we know that there are people at Bungie that listen to the show. We want them to hear these things. So
yep.
All right, but I think that's all the news this week, right? Is there anything else?
Right, we're already going long, man. We're already going long.
Okay, yeah, let's move along.
Oh wait, Destiny 2 PC trailer.
Oh yeah, that was like today, right?
Today. Yep, that launched today.
Along with the new Black Panther trailer.
I haven't seen that yet.
Go watch it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Black Panther. But Destiny 2 PC launch trailer looks gorgeous.
Yes, it does.
But oh my God, who edits this stuff? Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, just some of the cuts and the edits. I'm like, that's not how that went down. Like,
wait a second.
And I can tell now.
Well, plus two, I was surprised. Well, I wasn't really surprised, but I wondered what they would do with the content that we've already experienced, and they just flat out show you the entrance to the raid. Like
right,
which I mean,
which is fine. I mean, no, that's fine.
I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that works.
Because this is also for, like, there's people that are going to play on PC that haven't played the game at all. So it's kind of like not just a PC launch trailer. They got to fit in a little bit of that, the campaign. And then they've got this guy going ham with a grenade launcher and Emperor's Respite, which was hilarious to me. Like, let's take the worst gun and the worst map and make it look good. Like, who cut that?
Yeah.
Anyways, cool trailer, got me hype. I've been on the fence about playing on PC.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. The only reason I'm going to play on PC is because it's going to look really good, and because I'm going to have more friends on there. Like, not more than on Xbox, but like, other PlayStation players and stuff like that. But the way it seems like it's going is that all the hardcore PvP guys are going to PC. Why would I want to be there?
Yeah. Well, now I do kind of worry about that, because my PS4 will still be my main, and I've mentioned this before, but I want to experience just the game fully with mouse and keyboard, and just
that's
just
a reason
different experience, different peripherals. And I am like, dang, all I hear in the streams, a lot of the times, I won't say all of them, but it's like, man, I can't wait for the PC version to drop, and it's like that's kind of what I didn't want to happen. Like I didn't want it to be like, totally, we're going here to play PvP. Yeah.
I think a particular segment of the community is going to wholly move to PC as their main platform, which I mean, that's fine. I have, no problem with that. It's just as a casual, quote unquote, let's call me a casual hardcore player. Like, I don't do this professionally. I'm going to play where my friends are. That's the platform that I choose as my main. But I think it'll be important for the show. It'll be important for the experience to play it. I don't see myself playing it as much on PC.
Right. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. PS4 will still be my main. It's just, I hope there's still I'll play PvP on PC. I just hope there's still a decent PvP community on the consoles,
I think there will be. I think it's just going to be fewer of the big players in that community. And there may be, a smattering of guys who are, more hardcore. Maybe they're not like professional players, but maybe if we call like the sweat community, like I could see a lot of those guys moving to PC because changes there, the FOV slider, the frame rate increase, like all those things that kind of do matter to that crowd.
Yeah. I'll be interested to jump in trials and see how sweaty it is.
Yeah, man. I mean, it could be good news for us on console. Like, who knows? But either way, we're gonna play it, and we're gonna check it out and report back our results.
We shall see.
Like good boys will. So let me ask you, because you've been out for a few weeks, how was your resets?
Dude, I even put in the notes my last 3 resets. Oh man,
I've just been a month of playing Destiny, please.
Right? Yeah, it's like so let's see. I put some notes in here for myself because it's been a bit. A few weeks ago, I was still doing my milestone thing. The faction rally was going on. I did pledge Dead Orbit. Like you predicted would
part
win.
Of the problem.
Yeah, and I will say I'm not thrilled with their armor this go around. I love the Titan armor in D1, but
I wasn't too big on the armors.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know. I don't do the whole like, it's like space magic. I don't want like bullet. What's the word I'm looking? I don't want it to look like
tactical,
like
gear?
tack armor right now. Yeah, like I want like sleek, Tron looking stuff.
That new Monarchy like knight armor for the Titan, pretty cool, right?
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Well, plus, but I was happy though because I've been testing weapons. Oh, real quick, I did run a Nightfall. I finally ran a Nightfall. That was exciting. That was fun.
They're fun.
Yeah, we had to do it twice. The whole thing.
The time.
Yeah. So we did it though. I think it was one of the harder weeks too. I think it was 2 weeks ago we did it. But anyways, I've been testing some weapons, man. I'm playing my PvP, and there was a secret little gem with Dead Orbit, dude. Dire Promise hand cannon. Even in their current state, I'm loving that hand cannon. Even whether it's cleanup kills or whatnot, it's a fun hand cannon. I wasn't like thrilled. A lot of people like the gun model. I do like it. It's old school, 6 shooter and whatever. But I really started liking it. I saw it pop up on YouTube videos and this or that. But I've been testing a lot of stuff, dude. The Antiope, that's everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Not really my kind of gun, but I ran it in trials this weekend, and on Midtown, it's excellent. Origin Story I got because I was kind of wanting to get that guy. Last Hope, all these things, man. I've been testing. There's so many guns to use right now. I've been hearing
There's
a lot
of
mixed
options.
Yeah, there's so many mixed
opinions
opinions
on PvP. You don't have
on
to
PvP
use
right now.
what is dominant right now.
Yeah, I know it's like Mida, especially after playing this weekend. I used Mida on Eternity and, a couple different areas. And I used it, I think, in one game on Midtown. And the rest of the night, I used Antiope and Uriel's. And, man, what a fantastic loadout for Midtown. But anyways,
that's probably great ranges for that.
Oh, dude, it was excellent. But getting into trials, dude, I have a story for you. I don't think I got to tell you. I just teased you in a text version, dude. We 2 weekends ago, we were at 5 wins, smooth card, just cruising through it. We had my cousin with us who wasn't able to ever go flawless in Destiny 1, and he's picked Destiny 2 up. And man, everything's going great. Just it's our 5th game. We're up 4-0. To get to 4-0, in between 2 of the rounds, we had to wait like the longest I've ever waited between rounds. It was like pushing 30 seconds probably. We had to wait for lag. And we loaded in, and then it happened again between the next round. We loaded in. Everybody was still there. Nobody got dropped. And we're like, man, surely somebody on their team is going to get dropped. Surely. And we load in. It happens again a 3rd time. We load into the next round, and it drops my cousin and my other friend. It drops 2 of our players, dude. And we're like, no way, you've got to be kidding me. So we stay focused, and we're like, we can do this, 2-on-4. So we win 1 round, and then they just super spam us, dude. And we won. We brought it to it's 6 rounds in countdown, right? You got 6? Yeah. So we were 5. We brought it to like 5-3. It was 4-1. And then they just super steamrolled us. And it was like, sucks. You've got to be joking, dude. So that stunk. That was like the equivalent of my YouTube video where we got booted error code on the like final game of the 4th round of the final game. Yeah. But anyways, we played a little longer. It was fine. We got another card to like 4 wins. But this weekend, dude, 2 cards. I don't know. I figured like the hardcore trials players would still be in trials, and then everybody else would be playing Iron Banner. I don't know if everybody was playing Iron Banner. I don't know what was going on, but we had 14 wins in a row. 2 cards, flawless twice. And it was, and I got to say, like, we swapped 1 person in each card. So we had 1 person different in each, and it was we were working great as a team, dude. The team shots were on, the strategies were on, the quick plants were on up in rugs, and it was some smooth trials, I gotta say. It was fantastic. I'm
glad you had a good time, man.
We didn't experience the glitch, but I was happy, dude. It was my first flawless. I haven't got like a ton of cards in, probably less than 10 at this point, and I was super excited to go flawless, man.
Way to go, dude. So, I got to get one. Yeah, we've come close, but haven't cut the mustard, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, sorry. What about you, man? What have you been up to this week?
What did I do this week? So
I'm saving.
There was like at least 3 nights this week I didn't get to get on a game at all. So I did 2 raids. Did one on my Hunter, one on my Titan, and did 2 nights I think of Iron Banner, and then doing like trying to do some of the weekly milestone stuff. Iron Banner is fun. It's fine. It's great. I know a lot of people are not pleased with the way that the reward system is working.
Yeah.
So here, let me make sure I got this straight how this works. Everything's based on tokens. I think you get 2 tokens for a loss, right? 5 for a win. A package is 20 tokens, right? So,
and you get 15 for completing your daily challenges, right? Which
yeah.
Are those always the same, or did it just happen that they were the same? Because the past 2 days mine have been the same. They were like to kill 3 opponents or 2 opponents, whatever, and then the cap the points, and I don't know, maybe they were just the same the last 2 days.
I don't know. Maybe they could have been. It could have been the same every day. I didn't notice. So I think so the reward system is working just like the faction rallies, where you turn in tokens and you just get what you're going to get. There's a full set of armor for each character, and then there's a suite of weapons, right? And then there's a reward if you open 10 packages, I believe. You get an emblem, and that is a seasonal reward. So it's unlocked by opening 10 packages in one season. It uses that term specifically. So I don't think you would have to do it all this week, to get that emblem. But I know a few people were like grinded that out, and they were like, wait, seriously? An emblem? Like, that's what I just grinded for.
Yeah.
And I think the downside is what you're getting is total RNG across packages. I mean, that was somewhat okay when there used to be post-game rewards, but there is no post-game rewards that are Iron Banner gear, which was a big source of getting extra stuff.
Plus, you
Destiny
had 2
1.
for sure weapons you knew you would get.
Yeah, you just had to rank up and earn them and buy them with some marks, which would have been great if I could buy stuff with marks, because I have so many marks.
Yeah,
I have 700 legendary shards. I'm using marks. It's not the right word. One of my friends has 3,000. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Like, what are we supposed to do with these things? Anyways, I think, in my opinion, we have literally gone all the way back to the very first Iron Banner. Very unrewarding. Very little incentive for staying in a game. 2 tokens is just nothing. It's there's no point for players to stick around if they're getting steamrolled, so they leave. Which leaves other players on the team at a disadvantage and just getting more steamrolled that don't want to leave. And these are all problems that they fixed over like 3 years. They introduced the medallions so that you would have something to cash in when you did win games, so you wouldn't leave. They fixed the reputation and the rank up stuff. They built in these rank up packages. They had just all these different ways that you could get rewards, and made everything that you did in Iron Banner earn you something. And that's still technically the case here, but everything's completely RNG. So, you could play all week and not get all the armor that you want, or not get one of the weapons. And
I think there's 2 layers here. You can't get in-game, well, I guess 3. Like you said, you can't get in-game rewards. He's not selling anything specific that you'll get guaranteed, and the armor is dropping at really low rates.
Yeah.
Like, crazy low compared to the weapons. I had some great RNG. I wanted the hand cannon and the pulse because I'm looking forward to the possibly inevitable tweak they make to those 2 weapon types. So I got those in like within my first 3 packages. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm still hunting the auto rifle, but I've only gotten the arms and the chest piece. Oh, I got the mark. I got the Titan Mark too. So overall, my loot experience isn't too bad, but I still agree. We're playing Iron Banner. We're grinding it. I think it would help ease a bit of the community's feedback or their feelings right now if we had like guaranteed weapons we could purchase from him each time. I don't have a problem with the token system overall. I think if we added that layer to be able to get guaranteed weapons or even in-game rewards, I do like we see the token system everywhere. I love that there's the random weapons you can get that kind of pulls from the other loot pool in the game. Not so much for Iron Banner, because that's not what people want with Iron Banner, but if I'm doing a strike or something and there's this other little loot pool that it can pull from, I think that's cool. But I don't know. There's definitely...
I don't like that because it dilutes your rewards.
Yeah, I mean, specifically for Iron Banner, I don't care for it.
Yeah.
Because you want Iron Banner stuff. But
Right.
I like it in like the core game modes because I don't want to branch out on this too long, but when we were talking about the wave-based thing this week, I thought it would be cool, and there's things you'd have to figure out here that wouldn't work right off the bat, but like in the wave-based PvE game mode, I think it would be cool if, and hashing this out with a couple people on Twitter, we found a really fine-tuned thing, like if every 10 waves, a random strike boss would spawn, and you would get the strike-specific loot from that strike in this wave-based game mode. I think it's cool if they can figure out a way, in a nutshell, we'll talk about this maybe later, to give us loot from elsewhere in the game without doing what you said, making us feel like we're not getting the loot that we want. You know, I think that's a solution to making us want to run other activities because maybe this activity is more fun to us and we can get this loot from over here that normally we could only get from over here. You don't want to pull them from the other activities. Like I said, we were hashing this out, figuring out. We did figure out a pretty cool detailed list of things that would work for a wave-based game mode. But in your Iron Banners, we're playing Iron Banner for Iron Banner gear. I don't want to get stuff that I get for playing the base game, basically, right? Is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I want Iron Banner stuff.
You want Iron Banner stuff, and it's only for a week. I want a full set of Titan gear. It's not going to happen. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. I have to wait till next time. That's fine. It'll give me something to hunt, but I really would have liked to have ran around the tower in a full set of that awesome
Well,
Iron
and
Banner
they did
Titan
a great
gear.
job of incentivizing you in Destiny 1 with, you know, on a different week, giving you the guaranteed ability to buy a particular piece of armor or gun if you played that week and got up to a certain rank level. And it enabled you to come back, play it every month if you wanted to collect that armor.
Slowly build your collection.
And know that even if you didn't randomly get it by chance, you could build it over time and know that, you know, by the end of the season, quote unquote, because it wasn't seasons then, you would have it because you weren't victim of RNG, right?
Right, yeah.
And I think that they've stripped that mechanic away. And so my point on this ties into another aspect of the fact that there is no power level enabled activities in Crucible, which
is weird to me.
I think is a move in the right direction in a way, because having in Destiny 1, having light be a determiner or a determining factor in your power in the Crucible never really amounted to much, because once you hit a certain level, the power curve was so small that you'd be lucky if you could pinpoint an opportunity where you won or lost because of that.
Yeah.
It just was
weird
not
to me,
significant enough.
Kind of out of the blue to me that they did that. I get like your explanation for it there. But you know, then it just ties into the bigger conversation of what's the point of power level, you know?
Oh yeah. Before we get into that, I think the whole purpose of having that in Destiny 1 in the first place was it being a gate, so that you had to have reached a certain level of experience or a certain point in the game before you could participate in that activity. That seemed pretty clear to be that's why that was the case. So instead, you just have to be a certain power level before you can access trials and before you can access Iron Banner. Just fine. Taking that old power level requirement after that away makes it more accessible to the overall player base. And I think that's a great move. So they, for lack of a better term, casualized Iron Banner. It's not about power anymore, even though that was originally the in-game canon reason for having power level enabled.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like the gloves are off type activity, but they've made it more accessible, but then less rewarding. So if you're a casual player and you're playing Iron Banner and you're got this carrot dangled over your head, but you can't guarantee what you're going to get, what's the point?
Right.
You know, if you're a casual player, you'd rather go play something that you will feel more rewarded from. You're going to go do your milestones or something, right? So it's like a lot of things in this game, they take one step in the right direction and 2 steps back. They kind of shoot themselves in the foot by the way they execute it. Just like, you know, they made these great changes to make the Crucible more competitive, but then there's no custom mode. The field of view sucks. I could go on, you know, it's like they took 1 step forward, 3-4 steps back. And I don't understand some of those choices.
And another layer of it, you know, is they're giving you that random loot that's not Iron Banner related. And at this point, for most of us, it's duplicates, which we've already hit that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So then, like you said, we can save this whole topic for another day, but what is even the point of power level when you're at a certain power level? Because you never become more powerful in this game. You just become, you get the ability to take less damage.
Right.
You're never more powerful than anything in this game. You hit a point at which your power level does not matter past a certain number. It just affects how much damage you take, more or less, from an enemy. Matters not at all in the Crucible. So why is there a number?
I don't know, man. It's interesting to land at this point, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, you hit 3 or 5. Great, but why?
Yeah.
There's no reason, man. And the most tragic thing about it is when the DLC comes out, like, everybody's going to skyrocket past that number within the first 20 minutes. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
It's removed a lot of incentive for me to do certain things.
I will say, I mean, my overall experience in Iron Banner, you know, we've got an email coming up. I may dive just a little bit into my thoughts on PvP. Like, I had a blast. I mean, I solo queued more than I thought I was going to this week. I did feel the wrath of the 4-man fire team. Like, as far as people grouped up, you can group up so easy. A lot of my main crew, and, you know, of course, there's all the dirt fam out there we love to run with, and it's like you just hop on for an hour or so and you run a few games or hour or two, and it's like, oh man, everybody's got a 4-man team. Like, yeah. So I solo queued here and there, and honestly, I had a pretty good experience. I know people have said solo queuing has been pretty rough for them, even in general Crucible, but I don't know.
I think solo queuing is a tougher decision in Destiny 2 than Destiny 1 because of the impact of team play.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am more aware of running with the blue dots on my radar.
Yeah,
when I'm solo queuing, I try to stay with my team. But I mean, I've always been a fan, always in my gaming career, if you will, of smaller team-based game modes. I'm not so much a fan of shooting people 30 times before they die. I'm not saying that's Destiny right now. I'm just saying in general, I was always a license to kill GoldenEye player. I think we're somewhere in between that right now.
Yeah.
But I love the 4v4. I really love Iron Banner 4v4. I like it. I know people love 6s. 6s were fine with me. 6s will probably be great right now because the 6s problems that I had with Destiny 1 was that it felt like there was a super around every other corner. We wouldn't have that right now, so 6s could feel really fun. But for me, I love 4 versus 4. I think it's so fun. A lot of the maps, at some point maybe we'll get in a map conversation, but I really like a lot of the Destiny 2 maps. And I will say I do want Rumble back. I want Rumble.
A lot of people want Rumble back, yeah.
Yeah. That was like my solo queue thing, man. That's what I did.
How was your experience with respawns?
I did. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up.
A lot of feedback on that.
There were definitely several times where I spawned into, seconds later, gunfire. I mean, they're definitely, and it's weird too because you think at Control, that would be mostly locked down. You'd think the game, their coding would know where to spawn you, but I saw that too. I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't want make that an oversight. But I experienced it some, not a lot. I mean, I had some Call of Duty. I always call it Call of Duty-esque, like spawn shot in the back. Like, what did the game just spawn me there for? Because I could never play like free for all on Call of Duty because I don't know. Rumble just always felt a little different to me in Destiny as far as spawning and stuff.
My suspicion is that the coding controlling respawns is putting too much emphasis on the length of time in between respawns, because people do not like to wait to spawn. You know, the focus is on a quick spawn as opposed to a good spawn, I think, is the problem. And you would think with less players that getting a good spawn would be less of an issue, but I'm having more problems with spawns than I probably ever did in Destiny 1.
Yeah.
So I think it
the
needs
maps.
some
I mean,
work.
some of the maps seem smaller to you. I mean,
they are. They are
we had
smaller
some large
maps,
but we've got 4 less players, right? So
yeah. So you would think, you know, there can only be 7 other players engaging or around the map. There's got to be a spot where you've got at least a few seconds to get your bearings and get some cover before. I mean, I've literally just spawned into supers, immediately died, spawned into somebody with a reticle on my head, immediately died. Nothing you can do about it. I saw a clip of somebody for a straight minute get spawned and instantly killed like 4 times in a row. I was like, wow.
I think I didn't watch that, but I saw a post of something similar. On Reddit.
So I think they need some work there. They're gonna have a hard time, you know, attracting more casual players when stuff like that happens. Like me or you might put up with it and we'll still play and just laugh or just deal, you know. Yeah. But a casual player, like they go through that for a couple games, they will put it down. Absolutely. So hopefully they can work that out. I think it's important.
Definitely.
So overall, you know, I think that Iron Banner was fun. I think they may have made some missteps in how they did it. I'm hoping that they can make some positive changes and maybe put it back in the cooker like they did after the first one in Vanilla 1. You remember somebody brought this up to me. What happened after the first Iron Banner was it was such a mess that they put it away for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And rethought it and brought it back.
A while ago.
Yeah. And I almost feel like we're in the same position again. If that's what they need to do, I would encourage them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the token system is their game, you know, so they've definitely got to rework the rewards a bit. Whether they,
I think it was more.
They give us, go ahead.
Morcules, she tweeted, and I saw a couple other people put this too, but she tweeted it was Destiny 2, the Token King.
Oh man, I did not see that. Obviously, that's the system that they're going with for right now, and it's like
I think it's fine. I don't have a problem.
Yeah,
with it.
Yeah, it's good. Throw us some in-game rewards and things like Iron Banner. Give us a specific weapon and armor we can buy from Saladin, and you know, there you go.
Yeah, I think there's just they can build on that system. I think it's a good core system. I think it works fine. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's clear. I think they can just build some depth into how some of the vendors work, and it would go a long way. So
the thing for me is like I was driving. I think it was today, and I'm like, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, you zone out driving. I'm like, things I'd like to see change in the Crucible. And one of them is, real briefly here, is hand cannons. I love my hand cannons. They feel a little weak. And my next thought was, most of the time, a lot of the time over the last couple years, I feel like we provide feedback. Bungie listens, they take it to their team, and they decide with our feedback the best solution. I feel like we'll see a hand cannon buff at some point. This is a prime example. I feel like it's inevitable. Something with Iron Banner, they're gonna tweak it. It's not quite working in its current form as far as the rewards. The gameplay was fun, and they're listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and they'll have the data to tell the tale.
Right.
I think somebody had brought up the fact that we already know from tools like Destiny Tracker that log the number of active players daily that 1 million less players logged in to play this week, which is a very statistically significant number.
Yeah, that is.
So
very much so.
Bungie's great at using both metrics, both feedback and data to see what is working, what isn't. So I don't think that they are unaware if they didn't hit the mark. So, but I do think that the armor looks really cool.
Oh, dude, the armor is excellent. I'm not gonna get a full set this go around, but that'll give me something to hunt for the next Ironbrainer.
Yeah,
I want the Titan helmet. I want the whole set.
I do too.
We still need gear set.
It's perks. Really strange, but I find myself more interested in collecting stuff for my Titan right now.
I know. That's funny. My cousin, he's a hunter main, but he switched to his Titan and he can't stop playing it on his Titan.
I've been having the most fun on my Titan in the Crucible.
Yep. Oh yeah. That striker, man. That's another thing.
Yeah. Striker.
Those pulse nades, it's inevitable, man. Something's gonna happen there.
You think so? They're really good in PvE too.
Oh, dude. And Midtown countdown, you run up to rugs and throw a pulse at the end of that hallway, they can't come in.
Oh, with insurmountable skull for it too.
It's like those grenades are so hot right now.
So hot.
Oh man. And two of them on top of that.
Oh my gosh. It's like lightning grenades all over again.
I love my Striker Titan.
He's good, bro. I've had a lot of fun with Striker Titan.
It's good to be a Titan right now.
Yeah.
Titan since the alpha.
Well, fun resets though.
Mm-hmm.
I did successfully. We got some players through the raid again this week for the first time. I have been enjoying,
awesome, dude.
Helping individuals get through that. I am finding that. For most competent players, it is a raid that you can bring new players through for the first time in a reasonable and efficient manner. Like with,
that's good.
I mean, everybody, their first. I usually expect like at least one wipe once they are fully aware of what their role is. There will be at least one wipe where, a mistake is made, and that's to be expected. But typically, within one or two opportunities, we get things going back full steam and get through the encounters pretty fast. So I would say, if you haven't done the raid or you're maybe intimidated, I would say this is a great raid to learn on. Just, try to get with a team that will take a little time to show you the ropes. I will. On Xbox, if you can't find people, hit me up. I am trying to make sure that I'm around to try to get some people opportunities to get through the raid or finish Callus if they haven't. We've been able to help a bunch of people through that too, which I feel really happy about. It is a raid that is mechanical, but not so mechanical that it is like King's Fall, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's mechanical, but it is easy to learn.
On the flip side, your other host here has not stepped foot in the raid.
Through raid on PlayStation. I need to go level a character.
I'm gonna go ahead and LFG right now. No, all right.
I don't know.
My quotes raid crew is ready to jump in, and I will say I went flawless in trials, so that milestone of mine is done. And I did say after that happened last night that okay, I think it's time to jump in the raid now. So hopefully I'll be able to report
just make sure you do it before the next DLC
into it. I know this week the Prestige launches, so everybody's going to be running that and not want to take me through vanilla raid.
Be like, sorry, bro, you got to jump right into Prestige mode.
Yeah,
that's how it usually goes.
Yep. That's all right.
Well,
soon.
You ready for some Dirt Fam discourse?
I am, dude. I think you should read this first one because the second one's got your name mentioned in it a few times.
That'll work.
I'll read it to you.
Charlie writes us an email. He says, firstly, I love the podcast. I listen to it a lot, but I really appreciate the positive views and suggestions that you make. I'm enjoying everything, loving the PvE, and really enjoying the PvP, even with team shooting people are complaining about. I would like to get an unbiased opinion on the competitive/difficulty nature of trials. Not complaining it's hard to go flawless. It should be. On Xbox versus PS4. More than that, I am interested in the differences between European Union, EU, and USA competitiveness of trials, differences in population, etc. Thanks, Charlie.
Man,
this is like a tough question, first of all, Charlie.
Yeah, that is tough. I mean, in general, trials, I'll tell you, I'm a PvP-er, as you know, probably. And first couple weekends of trials were tough. I heard like the first Friday that it launched, like that afternoon, if you jumped in, it wasn't too sweaty. But like it was hard for us to get a couple wins as a team the first couple weekends. But we've since like learned the maps, worked on our strategies, and had a little bit better outcome. But I've always heard too on the first layer of this, back in the day when Call of Duty was an Xbox game and not also a lot on PS4, like if you wanted competitive scene of Call of Duty, it was on Xbox with all that exclusivity and stuff. Yeah. I don't know, if the numbers backed that up, but it always seemed that way. And now Call of Duty's kind of gravitated with all the deals to PlayStation. So I don't know where, you would think maybe the more competitive scene is PS4 for the same reason. A lot of players are drawn to PS4 just because of population, because of the exclusivity and stuff like that.
There are more players on PS4.
Which naturally means maybe you're hitting more of the more competitive players, but I have no idea.
I think, disclaimer here.
USA.
What you are asking is any answer we give is going to be entirely subjective on our experiences and our conjecture. I could tell you that the popular opinion is that trials gets more difficult as it progresses from Friday to Monday.
Right.
That's been my experience. If I try to get on and do a Monday night card, like it is gruesome.
Yeah, we did a couple Sunday night cards up until this weekend, and it was rough.
So
it was sweaty.
Subjectively, the sooner in the weekend that you get on, I wouldn't say the less competitive. It's just I think that there's a broader player base, and so it's not going to be as sweaty. And
try early afternoon.
As far as the difference between EU and USA, your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea because I don't play in that area. So
that is one thing I was excited about with Destiny 1 was being able to, when I had my Xbox character leveled up, jump into trials on both and see if I could tell a difference. Of course, I don't have an Xbox character right now, but yeah, EU and USA, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah, I could tell you that more of the talented PvP-oriented streamers play on PlayStation. That's for sure, but that is a very, very small number of the total population.
Possibly soon to change.
You don't want to run into a stacked team of those guys, but it's like 1 in, I don't know, 100,000 chance that happens. So I wish that I could answer I wish that we could answer this question concretely, but I think it's totally like any online game. It's totally dependent on who shows up at any given day and time and what the map is that weekend and if people like it or not. And, how new is trials. All these things affect it. So
much stuff.
Yeah. Too many variables.
I was going to use this email to dive into a little PvP topic, but we're going to save that for the inevitable future of the PvP episode that will be happening soon.
For sure.
I'm sure. Dude, I'm having there. I could easily give you a bulleted list of things I would like to see tweaked in the Crucible. And anything from faster TTK, to hand cannons being buffed a little bit. But I'm having fun, man. I'm having fun in the Crucible, even in these sweaty trials matches, these competitive trials matches that Charlie's mentioning. I mean, we couldn't get past 2 wins one weekend. I was still having a good time. And I don't know. I'm learning the maps. I'm getting my awareness down. I'm solo queuing and trying to act like it's Rumble and figure out what's going on. I'm testing weapons, and I'm having fun in the Crucible. I know people have a lot of mixed feelings about it, but I want to see some things tweaked that hopefully some of these complaints people have, it'll get a little closer to what they want. I do agree with some of the things, but I'm having fun, man. I'm having a good time.
That's good.
So we'll talk about that soon.
We will.
Next email. Shadowstrike 623. Dear Destiny Reset, I thoroughly enjoyed episode 116, especially a discussion between Cyborg and Joe about the future of the end game. I completely understand Cyborg's concerns about the lack of depth in Destiny 2's end game, but I'm a little perplexed by his uncertainty about Bungie's capability to deliver exciting new content in the future. My personal feeling is that Bungie has proven over the last 1 to 2 years that they can deliver amazing new content at a faster pace than they could when Destiny 1 launched. I believe many of the features that Cyborg is hoping for will arrive, such as amazing quests for secret weapons, new places and arenas, like the expanded missions in The Taken King and Rise of Iron, and also Prison of Elders and Queen's Wrath, and great live events like Festival of the Lost and Sparrow Racing League. Cyborg, can you help me understand why you're not comfortable that this will happen? Or are your concerns based on an expectation that some of this content would have already been in place when Destiny 2 launched? Sincerely, Shadowstrike623, a fan of the show and a patron. I love every episode. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, thanks for the email. We were talking before the show. I think, we do. I think my hesitation and concern, I didn't really explain very well, because there was a portion of that conversation that would have taken another 30 minutes to unpack. But we talked about it earlier in the show during the news, and that has to do with my perception of what Bungie's philosophy for this game is now, which is, and I don't want this to be taken in a negative way. I think just totally looking at this in a secular viewpoint, so to speak, they are more focused on the 90 whatever % of the players that pick up the game and do play less than 100 hours than the 10% or whatever percentage it is that gets the value out of the more deep in-game stuff that 5% of the players of the game might ever reach, because that's where the money is. It is a better return for them as a company and for Activision as a publisher if they spend development time on the things like a great campaign, great set of strikes, a good mid game, and all those things that happen in the first 100 hours, so that those players return for further installments, than to focus development time on things that 1% of players might ever get. And my concern is that that's going to continue to be the case. I don't know if that's absolutely true. I think that they are putting some things in the game that they know not everyone will attain. Prestige Nightfalls are a great example of that. They're very, very difficult, and not a lot of people are ever going to take a crack at it, or maybe they only do it once. It took time to build that feature, and it's not for 90% of the player base. But it's not the biggest feature in the game. So it's not that I don't believe that they can do it. It's that I'm concerned that they may not see much value in those things anymore. The things that I loved the most about the game, that gave it a lot of depth, a lot of people never saw, and that doesn't hold much value on the balance sheet. And at the end of the day, Bungie is a for-profit company, and I can't fault them for making decisions that will give them a better return on their investment into the software. Just makes me sad as a player. So I hope that we will see more of those things. But I think that we're going to see what their philosophy is over the next year, on what's important. So hopefully that answers your question, Shadow Strike. I hope that they will do what we're wishing they will. I'm gonna try to stay positive, because they, while Bungie has not always put out exactly what we always wanted, they've knocked it out of the park quite a few times for me. So I'm gonna stay on the positive end of things.
There you go. Good answer, man. Shadow Strike should be pleased.
Yeah. Thanks for your question, though.
Yeah, great question.
So that's Dirt Fam Discourse. If you have a question for us, or you would like to tell us about something positive that happened in the community, or even you want to give a shout out to somebody important to you, send us an email, destinyresetpodcast@gmail.com, or a SpeakPipe, which is like a voicemail, at speakpipe.com/destinyreset.
Yes. Send them. We haven't got a SpeakPipe in a little bit. We had some backlogged, and now we're got a little drought of SpeakPipes. So
Challenge.
Send those questions.
I want SpeakPipes.
Don't say SpeakPipe and challenge. And say,
next week.
That'll start it
Or
full blown back up.
Send me SpeakPipes, or I will get people to send me SpeakPipes.
Where are you going
that are
with this?
Scripted.
Oh no, not a scripted SpeakPipe, man.
That's right. Fake news.
I know. Well, how about some Dirt Fan patrons?
Yeah, man. We have a new Dirt Fan patron this week that we'd like to shout out.
Who is it?
Mr. Wilburfish.
Ooh.
Thank you for being
Guardian.
a patron of Destiny Reset Podcast. If you're not familiar with what a patron is, you can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/Destiny Reset and contributing as little as $1 a month to our production budget. We have many patrons that are continuing to support us, and we are so thankful for that. It helps ease our pocketbooks when we pay for things like hosting and website stuff and all these little things that add up. So thank you guys so much, and we'd encourage you to become a patron on the show. Or if you don't want to do that monthly, you can also just leave us a tip, and you can do that at our website. There's a button to click to donate to our PayPal, and we've had a number of people do that as well, and we are very thankful for you as well.
Monthly isn't your thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we really appreciate it, guys.
Sometimes you
so
just want to like drop, $5, and that goes a long way for us, so we appreciate it.
Very much so. Dude, it's great to be back.
It is good to have you back. I'm sorry my voice is drying out, so it's a good thing we're almost at the end of the show.
Wrapping up. Yeah, you drinking out of a new Bungie mug?
No, man, but you saw that they came back.
Yes,
it's
I
on
saw
the way
your
to
tweet
me now. Yeah, I was so
Yeah,
happy.
I haven't ordered one yet. They're probably sold out now. I really want to order one, but
be.
I haven't ordered it yet.
No, I'm in my my reconstructed Iron Man mug still today.
Oh, okay, reconstructed.
Yeah, it got broken once. I had to fix it, but
that's good.
anyways, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at the AER0KNIGHT, and Twitch and YouTube. It's AER0KNIGHT. What about you, man?
Awesome. You can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter and Twitch. Cruise on over. We are streaming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday evenings, usually around 10 Central. And finally, you can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter or on the World Wide Web at www.destinyresetpodcast.com. That's your source for all things DRP, including a link to join our Discord if you'd like to join our community, or a link to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app of choice. Do we have any new iTunes reviews?
Yes, we do have one new 5-starred review. No written review, so thank you, Anonymous Guardian, for your review. We appreciate it.
Yay!
Thank
you.
We're pushing. I think we're
the way you wrote
129.
this in the notes. I thought that we got one new 1-star review, and I was gonna be so sad.
Wait, what? I think the only 1-star we have is the one that said, remember, we have a lot of typing, and I think they had the wrong podcast. So
oh yeah.
Yep, no, we got another 5-star, so we appreciate it.
Yay.
Yep.
Yeah, if you want to leave us an iTunes review, we would appreciate that. We've got a whole bunch, I think like over 125 now, right?
Dude, yeah.
And these help us get seen by more folks that might type in like Destiny into their iTunes search bar, and we want to be seen by them. So go leave us a review if you haven't done so already. It would be appreciated.
Please do. Constructive feedback is very welcome.
Absolutely.
All right, man. You going to play a little bit tonight?
All right, buddy. Yeah, I'm going to go jump into some Iron Banner before it gets too late.
Awesome. I think I'm going to do the same.
All right.
Glad to chat, man.
Best of luck to you, Guardian.
You too, buddy. Until next week, have fun playing Destiny 2, and take care, Guardians.